Glen Jaspers jumps up and looks directly up at the top of the haystack. Kev responds, "Don't get too close." Glen stops in his tracks. Jaspers ends up running up next to Glen, who is shorter and younger than Glen. Jaspers grabs Glen's hand and looks up at the top of the area. Justin Bridges turns around. He looks up at the top where the three men are looking at. And Ronald Stanzer stands up in front of the window. Just adjusting to the window. And as a result of standing up next to the window, however, a female named Jina Carpenter bursts through the glass window behind and drives Ronald Stanzer outside, throwing him to the ground. Stanzer immediately turns around and pulls the trigger on the gun. However, misses Jina Carpenter as she attempts to stab Ronald in the face. Ronald grabs her wrist and then forces her to miss him in the process of stabbing him. And then with some unknown strength, Ronald Stanzer grabs her and then throws her back and then kicks her back in the process. Kev Stanford scrapes his hair and drops the gun to the side. As a result, Glen Jaspers turns around and Jack starts turning around at the same time, both performing Death Jump Cocky back at the same time. Justin Bridges performs the same exact transaction. And Kev, who's in shock, refuses to pull the gun, watches Jina pulls the knife out and nearly guts Ronald in the process as he gets up. She punches him to the ground. And as a result, Glen Jaspers runs to the barn door, opens the barn door, and the barn door, before Jina could do anything to Ronald, Glen realized the door was locked shut, unlocks the main lock, and kicks the door open, therefore the barn door hitting Jina in the skull. Glen runs outside and looks at Ronald, when Ronald's head is busted open slightly. Glen turns around as Jina nearly cuts Glen's throat, but manages to hit him. But Glen moves in time for the knife to nick his skull instead. Glen drops back a few sentimental inches and turns around and stares at Jina dazed. However, he touches, but also in a street fighting stancing position. Jina Carpenter's red eyes glittered and stared directly at Glen. Ronald stands up alongside Ronald, and as a result, Jaspers runs directly next to Kev, but also adjacent to Justin Bridges, who was swiping a knife in case the female may win the fight. And then as a result, Justin swiveled the knife multiple directions before he put the knife directly in front of his face. Knife and a counteract cornerisms within his hand, as if to perform a kill.